All right, let's dive into something huge. India's rural economy runs on this massive, incredibly complex financial engine, the cooperative movement. It's got so many layers and moving parts. But the real question is, who's actually in the driver's seat? Well, today, we're going to find out. So think about this for a second. How does a big policy decision made in Delhi actually turn into a small loan for a farmer in some remote village? It sounds straightforward, but that money has to travel through this whole pyramid of institutions to get from the top all the way down to the ground. Let's follow that journey. And just to give you a sense of the sheer scale we're talking about, look at this number, 200,000. That's the government's target for new primary agricultural credit societies, or PACs, by 2027. These are basically the village-level banks, and this plan is all about pushing their reach into every single part of the country. It's a huge ambition.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with the backbone of the whole system, then we'll meet the key players at every single level, from the big picture guys at the top down to the network on the ground. And finally, we'll see how it all works together. Let's get into it. So first up, how is this thing even built? The easiest way to think about it is like a pyramid. At the very top, you've got national bodies setting the grand strategy. In the middle, you have state-level organizations doing the oversight. And at the base, there's this enormous network that actually gets the services to the people. It's a hierarchy designed for finance, supervision, and policy, all in one.
And at the very peak of that pyramid is a pretty new and very powerful player, the Ministry of Cooperation. You can think of them as the master architect, the ones drawing up the blueprints for the entire cooperative movement.
You know, this ministry was only created in July 2021, and its whole purpose, really, was to fix a system that had become super fragmented, with different rules in different states. The ministry's job is to bring it all under one roof, to reform, to digitalize, and to create policies that work for everyone. Their motto, prosperity through cooperation, really says it all. Okay, so just one step below the ministry, you've got two institutional heavyweights that pretty much run the day-to-day of the cooperative banking world. The Reserve Bank of India, the RBI, and NABARD, the National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because there's a very clear division of labor here. The RBI is the ultimate rulemaker. It's like the high-level referee. It sets the big policies, and crucially, it holds the power to give out banking licenses, or take them away. Now, NABARD, on the other hand, is much more hands-on. It's the specialized bank for agriculture. It provides the actual money, the low-cost loans. And this is key. It's the one that goes out and does the on-the-ground inspections. And this quote just nails their relationship perfectly. NABARD is the eyes and ears on the ground. It goes into the banks, does the audit, writes up a report, and sends it to the RBI. And the RBI, holding all the cards, can then decide what to do. If NABARD finds something really wrong, the RBI can be the one to step in and pull the plug. NABARD itself has a pretty cool origin story. It was set up back in '82 based on what the B. Sivaroman Committee recommended. The whole idea was to create one powerful, specialized institution that could focus on just one thing, making absolutely sure that credit and money were flowing smoothly to power up India's farms and rural areas. Okay, let's move down a level in our pyramid to the states. Here we meet the on-the-ground administrator, the Registrar of Cooperative Societies, or RCS. If the RBI and NABARD are the national regulators, the RCS is kind of like the state-level sheriff.
So every state has its own RCS office, and their job is all about day-to-day governance. They're the ones who register new co-ops, they run the audits, and they make sure everybody is playing by the rules laid out in that state's own Cooperative Societies Act. They've got the power to give a new society the green light, or even shut one down if there's serious mismanagement.
But here's a little wrinkle. It's not just one type of RCS. There are actually two levels. You had the state RCS, which handles all the cooperatives that just operate within that one state. But for the really big players, we're talking giants like Amul or IFFO that are in multiple states, there's a central RCS who's governed by a totally separate multi-state act. So it all just depends on how big their playground is. And now we get to the most critical part of this whole system. We've seen the policymakers and the regulators. Now let's look at the network that actually gets the money into people's hands. This is where the rubber meets the road. It all works through this classic three-tier structure. At the top of each state, you've got the state cooperative bank. That bank funnels money down to the district central cooperative banks. And at the very foundation of it all, you have the primary agricultural credit societies, the PACs, operating at the village level, dealing directly with farmers every single day. And this is just a brilliant way to see how it all works. Let's follow the money, right? NABARD might offer a low-cost loan to a district bank at, say, 5%. The district bank then adds a small margin to cover its own costs and lends it to the village-level PACS at maybe 6%. Then, the PACS adds its own small margin and gives the final loan to the farmer at 7%. Each level just takes a tiny slice to keep the lights on, creating this amazing waterfall of capital from the national level right into a farmer's hands.
Okay, we've looked at all the individual pieces of the puzzle. Now, let's snap them all together. We'll recap how all these layers connect, and, more importantly, we'll take a look at where this century-old system is heading next. You know, this system didn't just appear overnight. It's been built piece by piece over more than 100 years. The first act back in 1904 created the PACS. Then in 1912, they added the district-level banks. Over the decades, new laws came in for state and multi-state societies, all leading right up to 2021 with the new Ministry of Cooperation, whose job it is to modernize the whole shebang. So, here it is, the whole system in one simple chart. If you want to screenshot something, this is it. You've got the Ministry for Policy at the top, RBI and NABARD for regulation right below them. The state RCS handles supervision, and at the bottom, you've got that three-tier banking structure, SCB, dccb, and PACS doing the actual delivery. A perfect pyramid of command, control, and capital. So what's next? Well, it really boils down to one word: technology. While the bigger banks are already digital, a lot of those village-level PACS are still running on pen and paper. The single biggest push right now is to computerize every last one of them. The goal is simple: boost efficiency, create transparency, and bring this entire amazing network into the 21st century. And that leaves us with this one big final question, doesn't it? You have the system with roots stretching back over 100 years. Now it's being steered by a new, powerful ministry with this massive push for digitization. So can all of these changes transform this old legacy structure into a fast, nimble engine that's ready for India's 21st century rural economy? Well, that's the real test, isn't it? Thanks for watching.